Their bags are packed, and it's time for this town crew to hit the bush. They're headed to a cattle station east of Broome to find out what it takes to survive heat, snakes and a lack of water.
So I want to know how to look after myself, and I know that there's a lot of tragedies that happen.
For 2 days, this mix of tradesmen, teachers and camping enthusiasts will be put to the test by survival expert Bob Cooper.
The course is designed for novices and experienced people. We mix them together, it's one big family.
Their first task is to dig a fire pit so that food can be cooked on hot coals later in the night.
Pick this area because it's fairly sandy. Get a couple of people to start digging a hole to do our ground up. Remember, we're going to make it about that deep. And then heat up those rocks.
It's hard yakka for even the more experienced bushmen, like crocodile handler Dave Tapper.
We're going to get to some soft stuff soon.
As hunger starts to kick in, it's time to heat the coals.
The secret of this is catching the little glowing embers in the cotton pad itself, and there's 2 of those in your kit, and then really good tinder.
Bob, it may sound like a silly question, but what's the importance of being able to light a fire out here?
Well, warmth, light, signals, protection from mosquitoes, protection from wild animals. The psychological comfort of a fire is unbelievable.
Now that dinner's organised, it's time for one of the most important lessons of all, how to find water. One of the main things which the group is being shown is how to gather moisture from a tree, and that's just using a basic plastic bag and also a bit of string.
You each have a discussion, pick the kind of tree that you want to put that bag on, and then go make it airtight as possible.
The mood may be light-hearted, but this is serious stuff for Bob Cooper, who's been teaching survival skills for more than 3 decades.
When I read or see about people that have perished in the outback, I feel nauseous. It really gets to me both spiritually and physically.
In the last year, police conducted 80 searches in regional WA, and at least 3 of the people reported missing were found dead. Some people had wandered into the bush due to dementia or mental illness. Others got lost prospecting or were bogged on bush tracks.
Well, those that are most challenging for us generally are centred around those people in very remote areas, in areas where there's very little technology available. We can't access the internet. We're relying on radio communication, if we've got radio communications. The heat, the weather, the terrain.
20-metre cable, 10-metre cable.
There can also be a significant financial toll. Search aircraft cost up to $5,000 an hour, and the cost of a single search can come close to $1 million. There's frustration that so many situations could be avoided.
Survivors on board, crewmen's on board.
You can't legislate for stupidity. You would hope people think things through before they act, and from time to time that doesn't happen.
This is an AUWP.
We would encourage everybody who's travelling to a remote part of Western Australia to carry an AUWP or a personal locating beacon.
Once it goes off, it goes for 48 hours.
It's a message echoed by agencies tasked with trying to keep prospectors and truck drivers safe.
It's always frustrating, and it's even distressing when you hear of people becoming lost in the outback and just not taking those what we think are common sense precautions.
In the last 5 years, the WA Department of Mines issued more than 17,000 permits for prospectors.
We see a lot of tourist prospectors, we prefer to call them, entering a remote area for the first time and maybe unfamiliar with the surroundings. It could be that they get lost from time to time.
46-year-old Michael Graham wasn't reported missing for 38 hours after he was last seen. He carried no communication equipment, and despite finding messages for help written in the sand, The search had to be called off after 2 weeks. His body's never been found. The case prompted calls to make safety equipment mandatory, something authorities say would be difficult to enforce.
It's probably not a good idea for legislation to be specific about certain technologies because technology is changing all the time. There's a whole range of equipment available and that's up to them to choose what suits their needs best.
Flint magnesium lighter.
But Bushman Bob Cooper says the focus is all wrong. He says reliance on high-tech gadgets is part of the problem.
The number of people getting in trouble and dying has increased, and I think that's because of the reliance on technology. We seem to have lost a lot of the bushcraft skills that our forefathers had or our parents had.
But WA Police maintain their faith in devices such as AUWp's is well placed.
Enjoy. Hope you never have to use it.
For a couple of $100, you can have a piece of equipment in your vehicle or on your person that will work anywhere in Western Australia, and if you push that button, someone's coming looking.
Back out bush, croc handler Dave Tapper says he'll rest easy with his newfound skills.
I really would not like to think that I'd ever be in a true survival situation, but, you know, if it ever does eventuate, then, you know, I feel prepared for it.